Hey, let's get it started.
Hey Eric, how's it going?
I'm fine. And you?
I'm doing good. It's great to be
Okay.
here.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us and welcome to the Thought Leader Thursday. My name is Eric, and with me it's Gustavo, and probably Fernando will join us any minute now. Today we're going to talk about the Alteryx Core certification, but I believe a lot of our advices and our tips will also help you with the other certifications. Hey, welcome, Fernando. We just started.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
So I'm late.
No problem. We
All
just
good?
started. Hey, maybe we can just start with a fun question. This will give people a few minutes to join us. So let us start with this. Let us start with Gustavo. What's the most useless talent that you have?
Yeah. When I first read that question, I do have a few, but I think the most useless one is knowing the elements for the periodic table. And I say that's useless because I will never use this in my entire life. I did not like chemistry in high school. So I just memorized it because I wanted to memorize something. So that is the most
Oh,
useless talent I have.
well, that's nice. And I believe that was useful when we were doing the exams, right?
Yeah, that was useful maybe 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Fernando?
Um. Actually, that makes me remember about Heroes, a series, TV series that everyone had some talents, and one that I mentioned to a lot of people were actually that I have a talent to see similarities in people's faces that doesn't exist. So I can find similarities between you two and say that you are really alike. Maybe you are brothers, and that actually doesn't make any sense. But
Oh,
that's my talent.
see. Yeah, when I was younger, I was able to ride a bicycle without the hands. It was a cool thing to do. I cannot say that was useful, but I really enjoy that.
That's great.
Okay, well, let us start talking about the Alteryx certifications, and maybe you can start with Fernando. When did you first take the exam, the core certification?
Oh, that's really hard to remember actually, because I think I started working with Alteryx 6 to 7 years ago, and I think when we started working, I started studying. Actually, we didn't have the core exam. We have the one for partners, but core I think was I have no idea. I have no idea. It was a month after they showed that to us, but I have
Uh-huh,
no idea
uh-huh.
when.
Yeah. I was just trying to recall that as well, and I believe I did my first one for this one for the core set. It was 2017.
And I think maybe we can take a look the badge in Alteryx, and that's I think it's saying the first time that we got that badge. So maybe that's one good way of
Yeah, I got the date
find that out.
from there.
Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
it's mid 17. Yeah.
And what about you, Gustavo?
First time I took it was in 2019, and
Mm-hmm.
I did not pass my first time. I actually got a really bad score the first time because, yeah, like I had only been working with Alteryx for a couple of months, and I wanted to see what the test looked like. I took a lot of notes, like keywords, things that I wanted to learn more, and what Alteryx demanded. So, like, I'm not gonna remember the exact score, but it was below 50%.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and a couple tries later, I got the certification, and it's been almost 2 years.
Mm-hmm. I see. Okay, and then for you, what type of a question got you by surprise?
Well, I
What you
wouldn't
didn't
say
expect?
like there are a few things in Alteryx that we're so used to like doing and we never think about. Like I remember one question. It was uh, like the data types, right? So I've always known that the strings or like the texts, the integers are like numbers like whole numbers and double are for decimals, right? And there's the fixed decimal. But when they asked about the type of strings, V string, VW string, W string, that was definitely one thing that I like during the test, of course. And that is a cool thing to point out. It is an open book test, so you can research while you're taking the test. So this is definitely one question that I had to
Hmm.
research because we don't really see it like when you're developing a workflow. So that one got me by surprise.
I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's a great point. The data types, and we don't think about that, but there's a lot of things that we learn during those exams, and probably after that we would be a bit more careful with the
Yeah.
string size. It can take a lot of space, and we can optimize the workflows based on that. So it's also a great point of those certs that we can get those details, and then we can improve our daily work. Hmm. And
Yeah.
what about you, Fernando? Anything got you by surprise?
Uh,
You
no,
were
no
already
idea.
an expert at that point.
Yeah, being honest, I don't really remember the car certification. It was a long time ago, and nowadays, of course, we need to renew our certification on yearly basis, every 2 years. But if you get the advanced certification right, then we don't need to do the car. But one thing that I found very interesting when doing those certifications, both advanced and car, is that you can use Alteryx, you can test in Alteryx. So there are a lot of questions, and that's great actually, since we are able to test in Designer. And then we don't need to know everything. So of course the test, since we are using Designer on a daily basis, or working Designer with access to tutorials, help pages, and also Alteryx itself. So the idea for certification is that we don't need to know that by heart. We can check in Alteryx, see if that makes sense, and then answer. That's one thing that Alteryx certifications have, and other don't have something like that. What do you think? Do you
Hmm.
agree?
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that, and I believe what got me by surprise, or I'd say I didn't expect that kind of question when I did the certification, was the questions about the reporting tools. I didn't use that a lot because I was integrating Alteryx with a data visualization tool, and then that's something that I had to study a little bit more for the exams.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Cool.
Yeah,
So
and any advice about for people trying the exam the next days or next weeks about specific tools they should be more careful about?
yeah, my suggestion when you're taking the course certification, whatever is on the favorites tab, like if you know every tool and what every tool does on the favorite tab, not considering like the ones they add after, but like the standardized ones, you will be in a really good place. I agree with Eric. The reporting tools, they are something that got me by surprise as well. But it's like we were saying before. Like the first time you're taking the certification, try to get familiar, see the tools. Do not focus so much on getting the 80% that you need. Just make sure you take good notes. That you like taking it down the ones that you think you got right, the ones you think you got wrong, and so you can focus when you're studying for the second try. So the favorite tabs, the tool in the favorite tabs, that's the first thing I would study.
Hmm. Yeah, and I'd say there are two important things that you mentioned in your in different answers. But one of the things is that you were just starting with Alteryx in your first attempt. But it's good that it's free and you can do that remotely, and you can do that as part of this learning process, right? We can just
Yep.
get the exam and try it, and then you take some notes of the things that you didn't feel so comfortable about on the exam, and then you can keep practicing, right?
Yeah, I think it does make sense for you. For people that are really anxious when doing this kind of tests, it's always better for you to take a shot. Maybe you know a few tools in Alteryx, maybe you don't know a lot, but since you can use Alteryx to search while you're doing the certification, maybe you pass. We
Mm-hmm.
never know, right? And then after that you have a sense of what exactly you need to study, because after the exam you have your results, of course, and that's separated by categories. So for example, if you didn't get anything right in the reporting tools, you see, of course, you would not see all the correct answers, but you'll see a percentage by category telling you what you need to study next time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that helps a lot, and then you can just get the training at the Alteryx community to improve in those, let's say, the weak points from your exam, right?
Yeah, and that's
Mhm.
what Chris is actually mentioning, weekly challenges, right? So I think six years ago when we I start using Outreach, we didn't have the academy, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Then and we didn't have all the certifications as well. So my way of studying and learning Alteryx was all by doing weekly challenges. Of course, when you are doing weekly challenges, you don't exactly know what you are learning, but you have a challenge. It's more fun. You get more excited when you get the results right, and you don't have the proper answer. You don't know actually what you are learning. So that's why you have an open sea of possibilities, and that's, I think, in my opinion, when you learn, when you need to find out the exact tool to do something, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and one thing that I really like about challenges, besides the fact that they're more fun than just reading about tools, is that with them, I learned that there is no right answer for all tricks, right? If you have like one challenge, like these are the inputs, this is what we want, you will have infinite uh, amount of ways to perform the same activity. So this took a lot of pressure out of me in terms of trying to make it perfect. Because of course, like in the beginning, you will use more tools that you need to, right? That is completely natural. But after a while, after you get to learn more tools and you get more familiar with the platform itself, the Alteryx, then you find easier ways, faster ways to perform the same activity. So that's another fun fact about challenges and why I
Yeah,
like them so much.
Yeah, the challenges are definitely a great way to learn, and I'd say to learn the platform in general, right?
yeah,
Hmm.
100%.
exactly.
And what about the duration of the exam? Do you find it was you needed to? Oh yeah, and then we're sharing this link to the Alteryx Academy, and that's the portal where you can find the lessons, and they're marked. And maybe, oh, Fernando, can you walk us through the Alteryx Academy to show us the lessons and the tag that is going to guide us through the lessons related to the core certificate?
Sure. You want me to share my screen, you mean?
Yes, please.
Yeah, just a second. All right.
Yeah, people can hear the thunder here in São Paulo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we are
raining
all at the
so
same
much here.
place.
I hope we don't lose the connection.
Yeah, let me just get that here. So you want me to show
Uh-huh.
the academy, right?
Yes,
Um,
please. I mean the challenges are they're great, but I'd say the lessons they're more focused on specific tools and specific things that you need to know about the Alteryx for this first exam, right?
yeah. So talking about the academy, right? So actually, we have a lot of different options here for a lot of different kind of people, right? So sometimes you are more into learning paths. So here you will find a lot of different examples actually, but for example, getting started. Sometimes you will have more than you need to the core certification, but you're learning. It's always better for you to keep learning different tools, right? So here with the learning path, you have really descriptive training for you. Have a lot of interactive learning videos. Lara mentioned tool mastery. So for those of you that likes to understand everything related to the tool, all the options, you have examples, you have this tool mastery that will talk about uh, all the options, all the inputs, all the outputs. So for example, the join tool. So the join tool is not only for joining data, you can use that as a filter. And for some people, for those of you that is coming from Excel, maybe that doesn't make a lot of sense. And even for us, so if we have a join tool, it's called join. Why it isn't only for joining, right? But that's something that you can use and that you will only learning by checking tool mastery or seeing weekly challenges. So that's something that you can use this for. Right. Other than that, you have a lot of interactive lessons. So for those of you, for example, we have interactive lessons related to Excel, right? So Alteryx for Excel users, for those of you using Excel, and that was my example. So the first time I start using Alteryx, uh, the first tool I drag in my workflow, of course, input data. I include an Excel file in my Alteryx, and I drag the formula tool, and I try to summarize my data. I include that sum and something, and it did not work. And I thought, oh, Alteryx is not easy. So, but that's something that if you understand the basics, then you'll be able to learn by yourself. You won't need these training sessions anymore. You'll be able to look the help or look the tool name, and you'll be able to do everything else actually. So this interactive lessons, you'll be able to learn really specific topics, and then we have also the weekly challenge, right? So here you have, for example, for starters, you can see everything related to data preparation. So we have more than 300 talents. We have a ranking for it as well. So there are a lot of people doing this on a weekly basis, 300 challenges. And of course, for those that did all of them, I think now they are able even to get the expert exam. Like Chris
Hmm.
right here. I think Chris is an and has the expert certificate. I still don't have it. I'm planning to take that next month, but I think I'm gonna get it.
That's
But
great.
other,
So the
go ahead, sorry.
advice that's for core certification, but even for the advanced one and even for the expert, right?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but that's basically it. That's all I needed to show. Actually, there is another page here talking about all the certifications, but I have no idea where that is.
Oh, let me try to get that one.
Yeah, because we have one related to not only advanced certification, we have one for core, but I'll leave you to it, Eric.
I'm not saying that since you're already sharing your screen,
Okay.
trying to get that one.
This one. All right. So here, actually, we have everything related to exams, not only the core, but also advanced. So you have a training here, training examples for flows, but also you have a test here, a practice test for you to see how well you are doing. Of course, it's only, if I'm not mistaken, 7 to 8 questions there, open questions, but that's something that you can use as well. And of course, you have your prep guide, and here you'll be able to see everything that you need to do this test, all the tools, everything that you need to understand. Of course, it seems like a lot, but a lot of this is basically describing the tools, right? So my suggestion, weekly challenges. It's more fun. You don't need to know every tool because once again, you can open Alteryx and test that by yourself while doing the certification. Of course, you have only 2 hours for 80 questions, but that's something that you can do.
Yeah, and one other thing that I wanted to point out, do you have Alteryx open
Oh,
or
sorry, I stopped
no? It's
sharing. Let
okay.
me share once again.
I can share my screen
Yeah,
if that's okay.
go ahead.
Let me. Alan, do you? How did you share your screen, Fernando? Did
The
you
third icon, the
third
one that you
icon?
have a like
Yeah, I
a.
don't think I have this icon. So I think you're gonna have to share your screen.
All right,
What I wanted to show is the open example in the Alteryx designer.
all right. Let me just turn that into English.
Oh, I use that a lot during the exams.
Yep, open
So
examples. They're so helpful. So
yeah,
grab an easy one like
all right,
filter.
all right. Just seconds, changing
Yep.
the language. All right, so
So if you
almost there, almost there. All right,
That's a great tip because I use that a lot when there's a question about a specific tool, and I would need to drag the tool into the canvas and get a data source. But you can just open the example and then you play with the options there, and then
yep,
you get your answer.
yeah. So
100%.
here, right? So filter tool, open example, and then you're gonna see everything here, all the examples you can run. You can use this data set as an example for you to get something done, right?
Yep. And just like Eric said, there are many instances during the test that they're gonna give you examples, right? So they're not gonna provide you the data set, but there will be like a screenshot of a data set, and then you have to figure out what the tool would do. And open example, it has for almost every tool, and it is extremely helpful. It's super easy. Just right click whatever tool you want to look into and click open example. So very
Yeah,
easy and very straightforward.
Yeah, and it's gonna save you a lot of time. And as you move faster at the end, you have time to rethink about it, review your questions, and that helps a lot.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Let me ask you guys about this. How do you feel about the duration of the test? Is that enough? Do you need to brush at the end? How was your experience?
Well, on my experience, like we have 2 hours and we're talking about 80 questions, 73 of them being like there are multiple choice. They're all multiple choice, right? But
Hmm.
seven of them are practical questions. So you do have to um, like work with the data set for seven of them. Those seven, they are worth 3 points, and the other 73 they're worth 1 point. So my suggest when it comes to time, of course, try getting all of the ones that are worth more right. So it spend like 3 to 4 minutes on those. But for the ones that are worth 1 point, I would not spend more than 1 minute. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, that is my suggestion when it comes to time. So I always like whenever I'm taking a test, I try to take the hard ones before. Um, and but it was not exhausting for me. Like 2 hours, it's not. I was not tired after I finished, and honestly, like it gives us like so many benefits, like having this certification. That 2 hours to me is not a lot of time. That's how I feel about the
Mm-hmm.
time.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But
actually, sorry, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead, go ahead.
Now thinking about the certification, the time, I think for the first time when I took the car, I think it was not enough. But as you do that, uh, more times you'll see that you improve your ways of you checking the information in Alteryx, or maybe if you're lucky, you'll get one question that you answer in your previous try, and you know that already. So that's one good suggestion why you need to take that multiple times. It's better for you to take that multiple times.
Mm-hmm. Well, they also have a very large pool of questions. They keep updating that, but it's sometimes you get something again, right, in
Yeah,
different
that's the best
attempts.
part. The best part, especially if it is a practical question, because that the one that takes more time, and if you have one that you already know the answer, that's the greatest
Uh-huh.
thing.
Yeah, and I love the Gustavo's strategy to make sure you're doing the ones that uh, are worth more points. That's something very important. And but I also try to skip the ones that I don't have any idea about that, so I don't spend a lot of time with a very hard question that is not worth more points. And then at the end, I can just go back for those. So that would be my second run during in the SEM exam, and then I go back and review the ones that I didn't, I wasn't so sure. So we have that flag the question feature, right? And we can flag the questions that we're not sure about, and we can review that at the end before we confirm and finish the exam. And I love those features. uh, and that be my something very personal, but I also keep a piece of paper, and even if there's a flag feature there, I also write the question number on the paper so I can see how many of those I left behind.
Yep.
Oh,
That helps me a lot.
you're old.
Yeah. Yeah,
What is paper? I don't even
that's
have a pen
also,
here. I don't have a pen in my
yeah,
in my
I
house.
have a
I
pen
do have a
here,
few
and
pencils here. See?
I have pencils, paper.
Uh, I don't have.
But you don't use that every day, do you, Eric? Is it
Uh,
like do you always
I'd
take
say
notes or is it just
I use
for
it every
certification?
day. Not a lot, but I use it every day.
Okay.
Maybe that might be some of the fun questions for next time, if the people are still using pencils and pens, right?
Yeah,
Real
hopefully
pens.
we'll have trees, right?
Yeah, but that's not a lot.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
and now we mentioned that we took the certifications a few years ago, and how long does it? How long does it worth? How
It's yeah,
we can
it's two
keep it
years.
for 2 years, right?
Yep.
But I'd say we can renew that 6 months before expires.
You can. You can renew
And
6 months before, and I think Fernando could answer this question. If you have core and advanced, and your core expires, does that mean you would have to take advanced again?
Actually, both have the same expiration date. So if you take the advanced one, you don't need to take the core. But it's always, if you take the advanced one, then your core will be valid for 2 more years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
that the same goes for the expert. So if I take the expert and I pass, then it's gonna all gonna be renewed,
Okay.
and it will be valid for 2 years.
What if I have core and advanced and my advanced expires?
No, both always expires the same time.
Yeah, if they both expire, I would have to take core and then advanced
No,
all
on
over again.
advance. You can. That's a great question. No idea. No
No,
idea.
Yeah.
I think you need to get that 6 months to renew the advanced. But if you let it expire, then you need to take both
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
the core is the requirement for the advanced,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. I think that's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
But
So,
I always take when I can. I'm trying to get 100%. Not sure
Mm-hmm.
why, but I'm trying. I'm really trying.
yeah. So, tip from an ace here, and I'm talking about Fernando, not myself. Always try to get 100%. And also, if you have advanced, do not let that expire because you would have to take core and advanced after that, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can save at least 2 hours, right?
Yeah. But I
Mm-hmm.
love doing the certifications. It's really fun. Even the advanced one I took, I think, last week, and it's always great for me to test. I love doing this kind of test actually. I don't like to study for the test, but I like doing tests multiple times.
I see. I think I'm the same. I like those tests. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what about that? Alteryx introduced some badges about those certifications. What do you think about that?
I don't have much of an opinion. I think it's great for me to be able to share that on LinkedIn, but
Mm-hmm.
I would like to share all of them actually. So we have a lot of uh, certificates related to the partner ones. I would like to show
Mm-hmm.
that as well. But it's a really great feature since Alteryx. There are a lot of companies now using Alteryx. That's and also us. That's one of
Mm-hmm.
the easiest ways for us to know that a user knows Alteryx, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What about you,
Yeah.
Gustavo? Did you also share it when you got the Credley badge?
I did, and I love the partnership that Alteryx got with Credly because before I believe we didn't have the certification link, right? So now,
Mm-hmm.
like, we're able to share both the link and like the JPEG of the certification. So I think it's good for people to validate it. It
Mm-hmm.
is trustworthy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we're talking about certifications, using Credly just shows that Alteryx is taking this seriously, and it gives more credit to the people that are taking it.
Mm-hmm.
So we know, like, we work with Alteryx every day. We know how important they are. Sometimes a client requires you to have advanced, or the client requires you to have partner technical. It's not as common, but it is required sometimes. So the fact that now we have a way to validate it, it gives more credibility, and I love it. Credly is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now that we mentioned the badges and like sharing that in social media and how we can perceive that, how do you think what's the market perception about those certifications?
Well, of course, certifications alone, they're not going to do you any good. right?
Mm-hmm.
If you honestly, I don't even think you need an Alteryx license to get the first certification, like the core certification. I think you can get this certification just studying using the academy. What I also think is having experience with Alteryx, like working with Alteryx. Like the knowledge is good, but the know-how and like being able to apply in like different segments and like different clients, that's what the market is looking for. So as much as certifications are welcome, it's always good to have on that resume, like work with Alteryx and I don't know, like worked for 2 years, developed that many workflows. So not necessarily on your resume, but having your career history, that that path that you went through.
Mm-hmm. And what's your opinion about that, Fernando? About the market perception, about the certifications, and
I
are
think it's
employers looking for people with particular certifications, Alteryx certifications?
yeah, I think it's growing, right? So maybe 3 years ago, we didn't have it wasn't important for you to have core or advanced, but as I mentioned here in data mining, it's required for you to have the advanced certification for you to apply to a job. And that's something that
Mm-hmm.
is happening to a lot of different places actually, but even
Mm-hmm.
for students. So one thing that's worth mentioning is that you can get one free license for a year, and I think you have also access to training sessions and so on and so forth, for you to be able to get core and advanced, and for you to also be able to apply to these jobs. So it's a good thing. uh, and I think it matters if, even if you are not working with Alteryx on a daily basis, or even if you only have the trial for you to get the car, it's a must now in the data
Mm-hmm.
world.
Yeah, I'd say it helps a lot in general. Of course, there are some consulting companies there they already put that as a requirement or almost as a requirement to have the first or second certs. But I'd say in general, it shows that you're applied to that technology, that you're trying to get those achievements, and you have some level of understanding of those platforms as well. And I also say that specifically for the core search, it means that you know actually the Alteryx core, the core tools, because sometimes you get into a project and you're doing something and you get something very specific, and sometimes you go very deep in one direction. For example, you know a lot about the geospatial, and sometimes you miss the basic tools. And I'd say the core cert is there to make sure you get that part of the tool, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
It's
go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
I was gonna say that whenever I am having a conversation about Alteryx with someone, and I know that person is course certified, I know that like experience matters, but I know that if the person is only course certified, there's just so much that we can talk about, right? And if there are people on my team that I know that are advanced certified, for example, I know that we can talk about more complex topics. So I can go to that person and say, hey, I have an issue with this. Can we brainstorm and try to find a solution? Like Fernando and I, we've done that multiple times. Like even before like we met in person or anything, I was at a client and I couldn't really figure out something to do, like what to do with that specific case. So I just called him and like shared my screen and we talked about it. So the fact that I first he's an ace, so we we have that.
That
So
helps.
yeah, so it gives everyone around you a sense of how much you've been exposed to Alteryx. So that is very helpful.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, and as Chris mentioned on his comment, in his company they also have the core as a requirement, and I'd say it's something that is growing, right? This type of understanding and this requirement for different companies, and also when we engage with our clients, a lot of times they expect this type of search, or at least they feel more comfortable knowing that we hold those certifications, right?
Yeah.
Hmm. And also say sometimes it helps us communicate between us when we know who has each certification. It helps us understand what's to expect from each one, right?
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, and I believe we shared some. Maybe we can recap some of those. Uh, we shared that page with the certification. Let us say the guide for the certification, and then we talked about the Alteryx Academy with all those lessons, and we talked about the the weekly challenges, and also the help inside the Alteryx designer with all the tools. Oh, and I agree with Bianca. The certification is a good way to study. Every time we try it, maybe and then as Gustavo mentioned in the beginning, maybe you don't know some details about that. We're talking about strings. It helps us a lot to get know some hidden pieces of the technology, right?
Yeah, I think one suggestion, one thing that I've done, not for certification, but for me to learn everything related to Alteryx, is that I hate studying, I hate reading, I hate writing, I like working with Alteryx. But what I've done is like baby steps, right? So every day I would learn a different tool, or I would uh, open a tool mastery related to a specific tool and check if I know everything about that tool. So that's something that if you have time and if you want to try core or the advanced one or the expert one, that's one way for you. The lazy is like myself to know everything and to study in a more easy way.
Yeah, the tool mastery helps a lot, right? To get to know a single tool deeply.
Yeah.
That yeah,
Yeah,
that
and
helps a lot.
okay, I think this is a great opportunity. I, Fernando, what are the certifications that you have? Like how many? And do you know?
I don't have all of them. I don't have anything related to Connect, and I don't want to have actually. I don't want to learn Connect, but and I don't have the expert one. I will be. I've never done it. I will. I try. I start studying in January. In January, 10 to 20 days ago, on I've done 2 hours of study, so I'm really far away of understanding everything that I need to know. But other than that, I have all of the others. So all the server related, all the designer related, except the expert one, all the partner related, and I don't have the sales one actually. But
You don't have partner sales?
no, I
Ooh.
don't like studying. I told you I can try doing it, and if I pass, I pass. But that's the way I the way I
Yep,
work.
that's cool. What about you, Eric?
Well, I got those, but I also got the sales and the connect. I'm more into exams and certificates.
Okay, cool.
And what about you?
Yeah, I have designer, all the designer ones except for expert. Do you have expert, Eric?
No, I don't.
No. Okay, cool. And I have partner technical and partner sales. So, and honestly, like the next one for me, it's definitely server. So, one of the things that I like about Alteryx is that we can see like a path to follow, right? So you get your core, then your advanced, and hopefully the expert afterwards, and then you can start with the server if you're into that, connect, and then you can get into the partner one. So it to me it looks very organized because we're talking about a few boxes, right? Alteryx designer, Alteryx server, Alteryx partner, Alteryx connect. So I really like that
Hmm.
format.
Yeah, and Chris mentioned the expert. I believe that one is pretty hard, right? I didn't try that one yet.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of expert
Yeah, he's
users
in he
there.
broke part of the brain.
Yeah, but I think it would be a great idea if you're up for it. We can ask you to talk about that here
Hmm.
with us,
Yeah,
to teach us how to get that done.
yeah, that would be great.
I think I will try to do the test, but actually, since this is not free, then
Good
it will
point.
be
Uh-huh.
it's double the sadness, right? So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and going back to Bianca's comment about how we can learn during those exams, for some of those exams, when we go with the server implementation and Alteryx Connect implementation, there's a validation interview with someone from Alteryx, and then during one of those interviews, we discussed that. And then they said it's a very important part of the process, so they imagine the exam in a way that we're going to learn a little bit more. So they see this as part of this of those certifications, and I really like that. Is there anything in particular that you learned during one of those exams? Maybe not at the core in particular, but something else.
mm, I think I've learned, not that I learned, but I saw and I tested many different ways of creating spatial workflows. So of course
Mm-hmm.
you have the option to use the formula tool to create. I forgot the name. To create. Let me check here. To create points, to create
Mm-hmm.
polygons, and so on and so
Oh,
forth.
it's true. Uh-huh.
Uh, but I'm not sure if someone is using formula to build those kind of things. It makes no sense for me, and I think those people need to be studied.
No, yeah, it makes sense. Now that you mentioned the spatial tools, that's something that I learned a lot during those exams because I was using every tool in a kind of standard way, but then when they ask a question, you think about different ways to do it with the formula and with some kind of geospatial operations, and that helps a lot.
Yeah.
What about you, Gustavo? Something that you got your attention and you learned something new during the exams?
Yeah, I was not familiar with iterative macros when before the exam. So after I took, I think it's the advanced that talks about macros and like standard macros, batch macros, and like iterative macros. I like learned about it. So first attempt, like any other Alteryx exam, I wasn't worried so much about the score. So it was great, like to know that was a thing, and like learning more, investigating more about iterative macros and what they're capable of. So um, there's like for me, like they're very rare. Like I very rarely use them, uh, but it's good to know that sometimes in a challenge you think, oh, that can be done with an iterative macro. So it's good to know
Hmm.
what it does, even even if you don't use it a lot.
Hmm. Yeah, and beyond those, the core and advanced certs, I also loved some of those scenarios that they offer and they challenge you with the server and connect. So a lot of different strategies and architectures that I didn't think about in the past, but then when they present that as a question, as a problem, you think about that, and you can see the platform in a different way. I like that.
Yeah,
And I love the Felipe's comment about the core, and he said he recommended that to everyone, and I agree with that. And I'd say everyone that is using Alteryx, it it, it didn't need to be it didn't need to be on a daily basis, but if you're using Alteryx, it's a very good way to challenge yourself, to practice, and you can feel more comfortable after you get the positive result.
yeah.
Hmm.
100%.
Yeah. And what are your plans for your next certifications?
Yeah, like I mentioned, I'm trying to get the expert one.
Hmm.
I'm planning. I was planning to do that on January, but I'm not. It's not gonna be possible. But maybe February, I'm gonna try the expert one, and hopefully, I'm gonna be sitting right next to Chris with all the other experts.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe we can do a session with different strategies and advices about that one as well,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Hmm.
Cool. Yeah, I'd like that.
And you, Gustavo, any plans about the next certifications?
Yeah, I'm
Anything you
planning to
want to
get
say?
the server certification this quarter. Um, I have studied before. I haven't tried, like, no attempts so far. So I would imagine I will learn a lot from my first attempt, just like I did with all the other ones. Like, take some good notes, and hopefully by the end of March, at the max, I will have the server certification.
Hmm. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Yeah,
Yep.
and as Lara mentioned, it's also possible that after a question you learn something new, and that's going to solve something even larger uh, on your daily basis, right?
Yeah,
Well, we're at the time here. If you like the session, please feel free to share that one with your friend in your social media. And also, you can follow us on social media and our website to get updates and the upcoming events. Well, thank you, Gustavo. Thank you, Fernando. And thank you, everyone. See you next time.
yeah,
See
yeah.
you guys. Thank you.